Welcome to our Siemens webinar on SIPROTEC 5 version 9.90 news. My name is Bruno Reis, and it's a great pleasure to be here. Together with my colleague Thomas Klotz, we will present what is new in version 9.90 of the SIPROTEC 5 devices. I would like to say a special thank you for your participation. To make it easier, the webinar will be divided into two parts. In the first part, we will present a general description containing the new features released with the version 9.90 to ensure that you have a complete overview. Then, the second part will be dedicated to more details for some of the new features that we decided to highlight, since they are likely to be the most applied or of a general interest. We hope that throughout this webinar, you will learn more about how to unlock the full potential of SIPROTEC 5 devices with the possibility to reduce your cost and to optimize your engineering process.
Thank you, Bruno. For me, it's also a great pleasure to be here again. If you already joined in one of our energy automation webinars, you already know that about the Q&A box and the chat box on the right side in this application. So if you have any questions that you would like to send to us, please type them into the Q&A box in the upper right side. All the questions submitted will be answered within a few days by email to all those who attended the webinar. If you have general comments or not questions, please use the chat box on the lower right side. Please don't use the chat box to send your questions. In case you are in full screen mode and want to see the Q&A box or the chat box, just press Escape. And since we receive one question rather often, yes, we will record this webinar and make the recording and the slides available to all participants. Yeah, so without further ado, let's look at the summary of our agenda. So, as already mentioned, this webinar will be divided into two parts. There will be a general description of 4 general topics and some highlighted topics. In the general description, all the new features will be presented, as I said already, divided in 4 categories. This will be new device types and hardware components, version releases per device type, essential new functionalities, and finally, our tools. For the highlighted topics, we will present more details on 8 new features. These are arc suppression coil control, subsynchronous resonance detection, 7SS85 distributed busbar protection compatible with measurements without neutral current, IEEE C37.118 phasor measurement unit, transmission of measured values, and the new Modbus client functionality for Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP. For a process bus, there are 2 more topics. First of all, the redundant sampled values by the process bus client function and the use of our universal device 7SX82, which is now compatible for process bus applications. And finally, DXC5, the so-called typical based engineering for IEC 61850, step 2. So let's now start with the general description of features released in terms of hardware, functionalities, and tools. So the first part, as I said, are new device types and hardware components. So the first one is that our non-modular universal device 7SX82 is now also compatible with the Ethernet BD module. Before, this plug-in module was only restricted to the modular devices. Now this Ethernet communication module can also be used in 7SX82. As well, the Ethernet BD module has the same features as the shortly released Ethernet electrical module revision 2 and the shortly released Ethernet BB module revision 2. These are all shown on this slide. Some of them are IEC 60 1850-8-1, Modbus TCP, synchrophases, PRP, HSR protocol, and the IEEE 1588 version 2. But additionally, the Ethernet module is compatible with IEC 61850-9-2 merging unit function and also process bus client function, IEEE 1588 version 2 PTP protocol, Grandmaster clock function, and protection interface. We will go in more detail on these process bus application using the Ethernet BD module when we come to this highlighted topics part. Another general topic is the plug-in measuring transducer module ANA-E CE-2EL with a new hardware revision 2. The new hardware variant offers a second input channel with a potentiometer input to monitor the position of an arc suppression coil. This will be also part of the highlighted topics for more details. Currently, there is a small restriction on this module because the UL certification is still ongoing. That means as of now, this ANA-E CE module can only be ordered as a spare part later on, certainly together with the devices. However, please let me also note that it is important UL certification is only required for, let me say, US-dominated markets. It's not relevant for European markets or even for Middle East. So another topic is the version releases per device types. So version 990 of the SIPROTEC 5 devices will include a new Dixie device driver for all SIPROTEC 5 devices, which means a new driver and firmware for the following devices: a compact universal protection 7SX800, our fault recorder 7KE85, the generator protection 7UM85, the high-speed busbar transfer device 7VU85, the high-voltage bay controller 6MD85 and 86, the I/O box 6MD84, all line protection devices 7SA8, 7SD8, 7SL8, 7VK87 and the 7SJ86, our low-impedance busbar protection 7SS85, the merging unit 6MU85, the motor protection 7SK85, non-modular and modular 7SK85, our overcurrent protection devices 7SJ81, 82, 85, the paralleling device 7VE85, all transformer differential protection devices, modular and non-modular ones 7UT8, the universal protection devices 7SX82 and 7SX85, and finally our 7SY82, our low power instrument transformer universal device.
So talking now about the essential new functionalities, with version 9.90, we have a total of 13 essential new functionalities, which will be presented now. The first one, arc suppression coil control. This will be available for 7SJ82, 7SX82, 6MU85, 7SJ85, 7SX85, 7UT85, 86 and 87, and 7VE85. We will go into more detail in the highlighted topics part. Line differential protection, enhanced sensitivity for states IN diff and I2 diff. Available for 7SD82, 7SL82, 7SD86, 7SD87, 7SL86, 7SL87, 7SX85, 7UT85, 86 and 87. Improved stabilization algorithm to allow a higher sensitivity for high resistive earth faults compared to the stage I diff. Subsynchronous resonance detection. Available for 7SA82, 7SD82, 7SL82, 7UT82, 6MD85 and 86, 6MU85, 7SA86 and 87, 7SD86 and 87, 7SJ85 and 86, 7SL86 and 87, 7SX85, 7UM85, 7UT 86, 85, and 87. This will be part of the highlighted topics too. 7SS85 Distributed Busbar Protection, a new feature to exchange of user-defined SPS indications between the 7SX85 CU and the B units. This will be available for all the modular devices. This feature means that the user-defined SPS indications from the B units to the 7SS85 central unit and from the 7SS85 central unit to the B units without IC 61850 protocol GUS messages. Important information is that this new feature is valid only for the 7SS85 CU option. 7SS85 Distributed Busbar Protection, health indication of functions in the B units, available in the 7SS85 CU option. This will be available for all the modular devices except the 7KE85, our fault recorder device. Now, the health indication of the functions: inherent circuit breaker failure protection, circuit breaker failure protection, and fault protection in bus bar protection, and external trip bus section in the B units is shown as external health in the 7SS85 central unit device. Important is that this new feature is also only valid for the 7SS85 CU option. 7SS85 Distributed Busbar Protection, IC 61850 compliant. New feature, compatible with measurements without neutral current. This will be available for the 7SX85. This will be part of the highlighted topics too. 7SY82, release of several further functions, available for the 7SY82. The new functionalities that will be available are undercurrent protection, negative sequence overcurrent protection, directional intermittent ground fault protection, restricted ground fault protection, automatic voltage controller for 2 winding transformers, CEI016 protection functions, starting time supervision for motors and locked rotors, thermal overload protection for motors, load jam protection, and restart inhibit for motors. Phasor measurement unit, support of time quality bit, available for all devices except 7SX800 and 7SJ81. Support of the time quality information as defined in IEEE C37.118.2, published in 2011, when the time source is the PTP option. We now have 4 new features that will be part of the highlighted topics. First one, phasor measurement unit, transmission of measured values. This will be available for all devices except 7SX800 and 7SJ81. Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP, now with the Modbus client functionality. This will be available for all the SIPROTEC 5 devices. Process bus, redundant sampled values for the process bus client function. This will be available for all modular devices except 6MD84, 7KE85, 7SS85CU. Process bus 7SX82 compatible with process bus applications, available for the 7SX82 devices. And as the last essential new functionality, we have Web UI extension for binary outputs. This will be available for all the SIPROTEC 5 devices. And with this feature, we will be able to display also the physical status of the binary outputs based on the IC 61850 mod for a better commissioning support.
Yeah, and the last topic for the general issues is or are our tools. First of all, Dixie version 990. So the engineering tool Dixie 5 in version 990 replaces the predecessor versions, and it's compatible with all SIPROTEC 5 devices. What are the focus topics in Dixie 990? Focus topic is the typical based engineering for IEC 61850 Step 2, which is later on also presented by us under the highlight topics. Another one is the engineering of Modbus client functionality. And we have some usability improvements. Now with Dixie version 990, it's possible to allow archive saving without process data, which reduces the archive size significantly. And there's an easier access to protocol settings with a new editor option. And this editor option is especially useful for the SIPROTEC 5 compact devices. So regarding SIPROTEC tools, the new version of this, I have to mention that freely available tool replaces the previous versions, and the focus topics in this new SIPROTEC tools are usability improvements. Now it's possible to test wirings of 7SY82 devices with the so-called SI bushing, which are our EA-own Siemens low-power instrument transformers located or mounted in the bushings. And second very important improvement, an upgrade with SIPROTEC tools is now possible for old firmware to the newest version without a step in between. This is also very helpful for the better serviceability. For the SIPROTEC and SICAM function point manager, I have to say there's nothing new. Okay, I think second part of this webinar will be the highlights. So let's start with the arc suppression coil control. It's now possible to integrate arc suppression coil control, or maybe it's also better known as Patterson coil control, as an integrated function on the SIPROTEC 5 devices. This means an additional arc suppression coil control device is not needed anymore. Arc suppression coil is used to compensate the capacitive ground fault current by a similarly sized inductive current in case of single phase to ground faults. In this way, an arc at the fault position will be suppressed and the ground fault can even be extinguished by itself. To enhance the reliability and stability of medium and high voltage networks by effectively managing the arc suppression coil, a control device is required to adjust the inductance of the ASC in real time, significantly reducing fault currents and preventing potential damage to the system. The coil position is detected by a measuring transducer input, for example, by help of the new ANA ECE electrical revision 2 module with a potentiometer input. Another highlight is the so-called subsynchronous resonance detection. So prevent your installation from being damaged by subsynchronous resonance using the so-called, let me shorten it, SSR detection, available now on SIPROTEC 5 devices. SSR is a complex and dynamic phenomena in power systems where electrical networks interact with power plants. SSR refers to the condition where the electrical network exchanges energy with a turbine generator shaft at a frequency lower than the fundamental frequency of the system. This might cause serious mechanical and electrical problems. SSR leads to oscillations at a frequency below the synchronous frequency of the system, which is typically 50 or 60 Hz. Power plants with a long shaft are critical, such as steam, gas and nuclear power plants, due to the increased installation of wind power plants incident on wind turbines with doubly fed induction generators and full converters are also possible. Power electronic components in the primary system can also generate subharmonic oscillations. The function SSR detection provides the following features. First, it detects the subsynchronous resonance in the power system, and second, it trips the generator or the power system to prevent damage in a critical case.
So, talking about 7SS85 distributed busbar protection, IC61850 compliant, now compatible with measurements without the neutral current. The 7SS85 busbar protection device as distributed busbar protection IC61850 compliant system now also accepts current measuring points without the neutral current. This brings several benefits, such as increase the compatibility with third-party merge units, as some other vendors don't support the neutral current. Save costs in medium voltage applications, where the protection device has phase current inputs with a protection class and the neutral current input with a sensitive class. For high voltage applications, we recommend that you continue to use current measuring points 3-phase plus IN, having all current inputs with protection class to allow the additional security of the ADC supervision against wrong trip. Taking a mixed solution using current measuring points 3-phase plus IN for some Bay units and current measuring point 3-phase for other Bay units as an example, here we can see how the current measuring points can be configured in DXC5 and how the SMV messages can be configured in the IC61850 system configurator. This new feature is valid only for the distributed busbar protection IC61850 compliant option. That means a distributed protection system where SMVs are transmitted from the merge unit to the 7SX85 that works as a process bus client according with IC61850-9-2 process bus, and the binary signals are exchanged according to IC61850 GUS. The 7SS85 busbar protection device as distributed busbar protection system with the 7SS85 as the central unit and the other SIPROTEC 5 devices, the merge unit working as Bay units, similar as the solution that we have for the 7SS52 devices from SIPROTEC 4, it still supports only the current measuring points 3-phase plus IN. So now talking about phasor measurement unit, we have the transmission of measured values. Phasor measurement units measure complex voltage and current phasors, together with the values of power frequency and power frequency change rate. All values get a high precision timestamp and are transmitted via Ethernet to a phasor data concentrator that stores and evaluates the phasors of different PMUs, in accordance with IEEE C37.118. To facilitate a better understanding of a PMU solution, we present here as an example of PMU protocol use case with SIGWARD PDP on station level working as a PDC. Additionally, it has already been possible to transmit up to 80 binary data per PMU function group. But now it brings even greater flexibility by allowing the transmission of up to 60 of any measured value available on the SIPROTEC 5 devices. In this way, the PDC can monitor binary data and measured values in addition to bringing even more power and flexibility to mitigate the consequence of disturbances for systemic network protection applications, among others. The configuration of the measured values to be transmitted by SIPROTEC 5 devices can be done in just 3 steps. The new column PMU appears in information routing matrix when function group PMU is activated on DXC5. You can route each measurement of type MV to the PMU protocol, and you can name them in the PMU settings.
So one of the next highlights is the Modbus client functionality for Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP protocols. Modbus is historically widely applied for field sensors and devices that do measurement only, which means voltage, current, temperature, pressure, and so on. With Modbus client functionality, SIPROTEC 5 devices can now monitor and control such field sensors and devices that could be either serial or via Ethernet. Examples of benefits and applications include the following: expansion of SIPROTEC 5 devices with additional binary inputs, binary outputs, analog inputs, temperature inputs, motor, generator, turbine control schemes for industrial and generation applications, station-level custom control applications such as load shedding or fast automatic transfer switching, control and monitoring legacy devices with Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP. Currently, with Modbus, the exchange of data point coding types and their addressing is not standardized, so there's no standardized method. The way to handle that has generally been through the exchange of documents such as Excel or PDF files. Now the concept of the Modbus configuration description was introduced with IEC 61850-80-5 to solve this problem. Additionally, it maps the Modbus server address space to the IEC 61850 gateway data model. The IEC 61850 system from Siemens, so the system configurator, is the first vendor-agnostic IEC 61850-80-5 compliant tool for creating such MCD files for any Modbus server device. By that, the engineering process will be much faster and less error-prone. Next highlight topic. There are two highlights actually for process bus right now. First is the redundant sampled values by the process bus client function. Those are now available in SIPROTEC 5 devices and bring the following benefits: increased availability, operational flexibility, and easy upgrade of existing configurations. Some application examples are switching of individual measuring points rather than switching the complete sampled value stream, automatic switching modes to change to a healthy measuring point. This prevents blocking of protection functions which then might not be available, manual switching for maintenance or operational purpose. All SIPROTEC 5 modular devices support redundant subscription of sampled value streams, except the devices 6MD84, the fault recorder 7KE85, and the 7SS85 central unit busbar protection. The second process bus highlight is now to use 7SX82 for process bus applications. Now it is possible to bring the flexibility of economical universal devices with cost savings to process bus applications. The non-modular universal protection device 7SX82 can be used with the same features as known from all the modular SIPROTEC 5 devices, which are IEC 61850 edition 2.1 compliant. The Ethernet BD fiber optic module as an access point is required. Publishing of sampled value streams as per merging unit function, subscription of sampled value streams as per process bus client function, two supported stream types, the IEC 61850-9-2 Lite Edition and the one IEC 61869-9 flexible streams. Sample synchronization via IEEE 1588 version 2 PTP protocol or IREC-B, or optical or electrical pulse per second. It is important to know that only the 7SX82 devices with a new universal power supply are compatible with the Ethernet BD module.
Talking about DXI5, we have the typical basic engineering for IC61850 Step 2. Now in version 9.90, we have a big step for this, but going to the past, in version 9.80, the first step of the typical basic engineering was released, allowing typical and child devices containing only the sender IC61850 datasets for GUIs, SMVs, and reports. But now, with the version 9.90, this feature is complete, accelerating the engineering process of a digital substation using the full concept of typical basic engineering. To enjoy this great advantage, basically, you need to develop and configure the typical master devices, derive the child devices based on the typical master device, make the configuration of the child specific settings if they are not identical. By applying this concept, it is possible to bring several benefits, such as reduce error rate, faster adaptation to changes, which apply to all devices of a typical. Version management allows to return to the previous configuration. Looking at the steps required when configuring this feature, you need to develop and make the configuration of the typical master device, generate GUIS messages, SVs, and reports within a typical system configuration description, the SCD. Derive the child devices based on the typical master devices. Transfer the GUIS messages, SVs, and reports from the typical SCD into the substation SCD for the child devices. And create GUIS and SV required across the typicals. And it's done. So, with this last highlighted topic, we end our presentation of what is new in SIPROTEC 5 version 9.90. As we know, it's important to keep you informed about the new features released in version 9.90 of the SIPROTEC 5 devices. We have covered all the new features and highlighted the most important ones, but in a concise way. We hope that this overview has contributed to your acknowledgement about our SIPROTEC 5 devices. We will soon be providing additional content on the highlighted topics, but more in depth. So, for the topics highlighted that you want to know more about, you will be able to use the specific additional content you are interested in.
So finally, we would like to thank all of you for your questions. As stated at the beginning, all your questions which are submitted will be answered within a few days by email to all those who attended the webinar. In the upper right-hand corner, you find the SIPROTEC version 9.19 new slides for download. If you are using full screen mode, you may have to press Escape to view the download area. The access to the recording is automatically available to all participants directly after this session with the same link that you got for the live webinar. Thank you very much for your participation. It was a pleasure for us, Bruno and me, to guide you through this session where we learned about the new features released in version 9.90 of SIPROTEC 5 devices. We are looking forward to meet you soon at one of our next webinars. Stay safe and sound, take care, and goodbye.
Goodbye.